Hey guys, it's Seth here from Silver Soul Gaming, and I'm here today to talk about Uplay and their recent statement that they want to change their games and have each game be more unique and not just some bland open world filled with icons and towers to complete. Now look, personally, I'm not a massive fan of Uplay, especially as of recent with their latest release of Ghost Recon and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Both, to me personally, are fucking terrible games. They are in no way impressive, they did nothing special, and they were almost the same game except for the story. And obviously, one involves guns and a different kind of combat, whereas Odyssey was, a little bit different and RPG focused. And sales for Ubisoft have become really bad, and they have gone down and have not really been great. I know Odyssey was a hit, but personally, that was a shit Assassin's Creed game and just not a good game in general, especially in terms of quality and the open world itself. Like I said before, they're all very bland and filler. And Ubisoft have gone in this direction of making massive open worlds and having the thought of bigger is better. And I don't like that. If you're going to make an open world, make it full, make it seem alive. I don't want a massive open world that isn't alive and is bland and looks almost all the same and no part is distinguishable from the other. Ghost Recon, I didn't even play. I knew it was terrible and I wasn't going to waste money on it because I wasn't a massive fan of the last one, and I understand that it is a game meant for groups and not necessarily single player, especially the direction that it's going, and same with The Division 2, which I didn't play either. None of them interest me. The marketing's trash. The only interesting thing about the latest Ghost Recon game was John Bernthal, the guy who played Punisher in the Netflix TV series and Daredevil. That was all that sold me, but I wasn't going to pay money for it, and you can't illegally download it because it's an online-based game. And obviously one of the big issues with Ghost Recon was the amount of microtransactions that was put in that game to make the game go faster and time saver. And save time. And let me just say, if you need to put time savers in your game, it's a fucking shit game. If you think the players need to save time by not playing the game that you made, you didn't make a good game. I'm sorry, that's just how it works. If you need to cut playtime out of the game, it's not worth playing. Odyssey, the game was the same. You needed to get so much XP to level up, and each main story mission came to a grinding halt because you had to level up 3 levels, and each level took you an hour to do because you had to complete 50 missions that gave you about 1500 XP each mission, and you needed about 300,000 XP, or however much you fucking needed. It got ridiculous, and I stopped playing. I even brought the $20 thing so I earned double XP, and even then it was still a grind to play. And I'd never finished it, wasn't worth my time playing. It was terrible. I feel sorry for anyone who did have to play that all the way through and did it because they liked Assassin's Creed. I love Assassin's Creed. Odyssey is not my Assassin's Creed. Obviously, Ubisoft really do need to change their formula. It's become very formulaic in all their games, and everyone has expected the same thing. It's pretty much a common thing in the industry now for people to expect each Ubisoft game to be the same. So recently it was announced by Ubisoft that they're changing their editorial team and having a restructure of how it works and how the games are going to be kind of going through this editorial team. And instead of there being just one leader for this team, it's going to have multiple, and they're going to check each game instead of just having the one that everything went through. And obviously he liked the games a certain way, and that's why a lot of these games were very similar. Now this change in editorial team is based off the critical and commercial reception of Ghost Recon and Division 2. They were both very, very heavily criticized for the amount of microtransactions, like I said earlier, and the fact that they were just so much the same as their predecessors. Like, they were not different at all. And Ubisoft has now decided to have a shake-up in the structure and how their games are made. And obviously, this new editorial team, I'm excited. They're expanding it. They're changing who's coming in. And I'm really looking forward to how this is going to work and how they're changing the games. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is actually one Ubisoft game I'm looking forward to. Now, how that's going to work, and if the open world again is just going to be filler and just massive like it seems. Obviously, I don't know how that's going to work, and if they've actually put interesting things in there and how it is. Now, I really think that they need to cut this live service kind of thing they're doing and the monetization, because it's disgusting. It doesn't need to happen. Ubisoft are kind of turning into EA, and EA have realized after doing this for so long, it's not necessarily the way to go. Now, you can have your pre-order things, you can have, little in-game purchases you can have, but the amount of monetization that Ubisoft is doing at the moment is ridiculous. It's all cosmetic, which, yes, you don't need to buy, but it's ridiculous how much cosmetic stuff there is. And like I said before, there's so many time savers, and you can just buy weapons that are for use at a higher level, and they allow you to just play the game easier and faster. Those kinds of things need to go. You need to have true faith in your game, that people don't want to pay for these time savers and want to play your game throughout. Now, that doesn't mean they want to grind and grind and grind and grind. That to me is not fun, unless it's done in the right way. Like Kingdom Hearts does it really well, I think. Not that necessarily Kingdom Hearts is my kind of game, but if you were going to do it some way, I'd say Kingdom Hearts does it quite well in terms of grinding. And obviously these Tom Clancy games have become very formulaic, very much the same. Same with Assassin's Creed, especially Odyssey, like I said. And things really need to change, and I'm looking forward to it. Watch Dogs Legion, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out. That's obviously been delayed into September, I think, of this year. I think it was September, but it's been delayed into 2020, sometime late 2020, instead of May like it was meant to come out. Now, that's obviously going for a much more different kind of gameplay, with having every person in that game being playable. That's interesting. Like I said in my my Watch Dogs Legion video a while ago, back when E3 happened last year. It looks interesting, but it's not for me. I'd rather have one character who we can have develop and have an actual story playthrough. But yeah, look, overall, I think that's really all I've got to say in this situation. Ubisoft are digging themselves into a hole, and I'm glad they've realized that they need to change it up and shake up how their games are made, and how much effort and how formulaic stuff is being made. I think they really do need to change up, and they're realizing that this industry is growing and evolving into a place where certain game developers need to have a name and have respect towards them. Someone like Rockstar obviously have a lot of respect, and CD Projekt Red seem to be doing a very similar thing with Cyberpunk. They want quality. They don't want to have a buggy launch with this game, especially with the delay happening all the way into September, because I feel the game needs its polish, and they appear to want a name that is respected, and they want to be game developers like Rockstar. I think that's what we need. We need more developers like that. Now, obviously, we all don't want games to just come out every 5 years. That's a little ridiculous. But in terms of having a polished game, having a game that's done well and doesn't launch with a lot of bugs, something The Witcher 3 was heavily criticized for, I think Ubisoft need to kind of change their direction. Now, sure, they can do a yearly release of whatever game they want to do. I don't care. But maybe change up the formula, change certain things up. This structural shake-up is really good for the company, and I'm excited to see it, but I'll believe it when I see it. I'll put it that way. When I see it, I will fucking believe it, because I don't know. Things have been said before in the past by companies like this, and it never really happened. But hopefully they don't do formulaic things with this new shake-up in the structure of how their games are made, and the editors decide to make a different game, and they want each game to be different and unique, and they don't just fall in this pit of, yeah, these games are different now, but they're going to be this kind of different for the next 10 years, like they have been for Ubisoft in the last 10 years, or 7 years, or however long it has been. So I'm very excited to see what happens. You can check out everything Silver Soul Gaming. Link will be in the description to subscribe to the website, to our Patreon, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Twitch, all of that kind of shit. My link's in the description. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, my Twitch. I haven't streamed on there in a while, but I will hopefully soon. Been saying that for a long time now. And yeah, everything else in this video is in the description. Everything important is in the description. Make sure you give the video a like, turn on the notifications for Silver Soul Gaming if you like this kind of content. There's always videos talking about news and speculation. I want to go into some gameplay videos revisiting some old games. I think that'll be a bit of fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully later this week for another video.